I'm starting off with some Fix Plus. I'm spraying this all over clean, moisturized skin. We're going to let this sink in while we do the rest of our makeup. That's why we're doing it first. This is going to help the skin look healthy and hydrated. The first eyeshadow I'm taking is Naked by Urban Decay. I'm taking this on a Boleto 405 crease brush and just lightly buffing this into the creases just to add a little bit of definition, not a whole lot. Apply this with a light hand. Now I'm taking the NYX eyeliner in brown and I'm just trying to keep this pretty close to my lash line, and I'm giving it a little bit of a wing. This doesn't have to be perfect, you just want to put a little bit of definition on there. And then to give it a little bit extra definition, I took the Estee Lauder Artist's Eye Pencil in Soft Smudge Black, and I did this strictly only over the lash line. I did not wing this out. And then I took an angled brush and I just blended everything together to make it nice and smudged out. Taking the shade Silver from the Lorac Pro 2 on a flat shadow brush. This one's by BH Cosmetics. I'm applying this all over the lid and on top of the liner. The liner's not there for dramatic emphasis, it's just there to bring definition and shape to the eye underneath the shadow. I'm not using a ton of shadow, I just want this to be a light wash of color on the eyelid. And then I went back in again with the Lorac Pro 2 and took the shade Chrome. On the same brush again, I'm just using this to bring a little bit of extra definition and shape to the eye. I'm just patting the color on, but I think the key with these Victoria's Secret looks is it's never too much, it's always just the tiniest bit, and so I don't want these shadows to be fully opaque on my eyelids. Now I'm taking this baby blue glitter, it's by Revlon, and I'm taking it on my finger, just patting it on the lid and then blending it out with a clean finger. I'm going back in with that Estee Lauder Eye Kohl just for a little bit of extra added definition on the top lash line. No wing, just in the lashes. And then on a Real Techniques base shadow brush, I used the shade Rosé from the Lorac Pro 2 as my brow highlight. I'm priming my face with the Pore Minimizing Primer. This is by City Cosmetics. I'm just pressing it and rubbing it into my skin. For my base, I'm using L'Oreal True Match Lumi mixed with Revlon Photo Ready Skin Lights and a little bit of Leo Welly BB Cream. The reason I'm using the BB Cream is because the foundation is far too many shades too dark for me, and I needed to make it match my skin a little bit better. And I just blended all of this out with the Real Techniques complexion sponge. Alright, so to highlight and conceal, I'm using NYX HD Photogenic Concealer. This is in the shade Yellow. I'm going to be doing under my eyes as well as the tops of my cheekbones, my Cupid's bow and top lip, my chin, under the jawbones, forehead, and bridge of the nose. And then again, just blending all of that out with the Real Techniques complexion sponge. To help open up my eyes, I'm taking the Rimmel eyeliner. This is in the shade Nude, and I'm lining my lower water lines. And then, because I wanted to keep the eyes open, I took the shade Rosé from the Lorac Pro 2, and I just smudged that all along my lower lash lines. I'm setting my foundation with MAC Mineralized Skin Finish Natural in the shade Medium, and I'm only going over my foundation. I'm not putting this on top of concealer, because to set concealer I used Clinique Transparent Powder on a Real Techniques contour brush, and I just pat that all over all the areas that I highlighted with concealer. To carve out my cheekbones and just give them a tiny bit of contour, I took the shade Casablanca by Galactic on a big fluffy brush. And then I bronzed all over the entire face with Casino. This is by NARS, and I just used the same brush, but this time I put it all over my face, on my temples, all over my cheeks, and down the sides of my nose. For blush, I used Orgasm by NARS on a Real Techniques complexion brush, and I applied this in 3 layers at a time. That's the key. I know the angels are always super flushed, but you don't want to put too much on at one time. And then to highlight the face, I'm using Becca Champagne Gold. This is a beautiful yellow 24 karat gold. I took this on all the high points of my face on a Real Techniques setting brush, and I did apply a little bit more highlight than I usually do, but the angels are always just so like luminous and highlighted, so it was okay for this occasion. And then I took that Becca highlighting powder on my fingers and highlighted my inner corners. For mascara, I used my Ico Sport mascara. This is waterproof and it has little fibers in it, so it extends your lashes and makes them look longer. I use this on my top and bottom lashes. For lashes, I'm using Kiss number 11s. These are beautiful. They are flirty and fluttery, perfect for a Victoria's Secret look. I really think these lashes just shine on their own and look so much better without an eyeliner on top. I'm taking Strip Down Lip Liner. This is by MAC, and I'm overdrawing my lips a little bit more than I typically would because I want them to look super pouty and full. I'm taking the Tarte Lip Surgeons in the shade Lucky, and I'm using that as my lip color. It's the perfect bubblegum pink, and I wanted my lips to look even more pouty, so I contoured under my bottom lip. I used a little bit of bronzer and a blending brush. For a gloss, I'm using the shade Pink Punch, and this is by Revlon. And then to finish the look off, I'm doing a final mist of Fix Plus.